Rogue Nicotine on Demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From fishing to Sunday football to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit RogueNicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit RogueNicotine.com. Rogue Nicotine on Demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From fishing to Sunday football to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit RogueNicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit RogueNicotine.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. What's going on, everybody? So last night I spent about an hour and some change with Lisa and Jen from the Prince and the Pervert podcast, and we hammered out a bunch of different topics. We talked about Scott Borgerson. We talked about Jeffrey Epstein, obviously. We talked about Ghislaine Maxwell. I went on a few rants about the torches and the pitchforks. You know, all of the usual stuff was covered. And we certainly got down into the weeds about the situation with Virginia and her being called a prostitute by a reporter. And for me, look, I want to hear all sides of the story, right? And if you have some evidence to report as a journalist, that should be added to the conversation. But to frame it like Virginia was a prostitute and to talk about it like, you know, oh, she said she was 15, but she was really 16, as if that really matters. Let's be real. I'm tired of the technicalities, right? I'm done with that shit. I've been pretty adamant about that for quite some time here, and I'm not going to fall off of that train anytime soon. The technicalities are a bunch of bullshit. The prosecutors themselves came out and said that these girls weren't prostitutes. So maybe a whole new defamation case needs to be filed. Because I'll tell you what, if it was me and I had went through everything that these gals have went through for decades at this point, some of them, I would be going scorched earth, Rome destroying Carthage type of strategy. Because these vile people are exactly that, vile. So, of course, I want all the evidence in this story, right? If Dershowitz has evidence, let's see it. If Andrew has evidence, let's see it. If Dubin has evidence, let's see it. Same for Wexner and same for everyone else in this case. But up until this point, we have not seen anything like that. We have not seen any sort of real evidence. We've seen some hit pieces. We've seen some people quoted, but we haven't heard from those people, right? Let's see what Miss Churcher has to say when she's being deposed by Chuck Cooper. Was she misquoted by her editor? Is it a disinformation campaign? We know that the publisher of Miss Churcher's book has published books for Dershowitz in the past. So again, we don't know all of the details, right? But what I do know is this: trying to paint these girls as prostitutes again, like the first time around, is not going to be a winning strategy. I don't think that the prosecutors who are trying this case are going to go for it. I don't think that Judge Nathan is going to go for it. And I certainly don't think a potential juror pool is going to go for it, especially considering what we've been through in the last few years with the Me Too movement, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Jeffrey Epstein, Keith Raniere, etc., etc. I think that it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to use that strategy this time around. People are more hip to it. People are paying attention to it. And this isn't some kind of money grab gray area case where one person has come forward and has made all of these allegations. Literally hundreds of girls. So where I'm from, that's called an overwhelming amount of evidence. This isn't some, well, I think 26 years ago this happened, but I'm not too sure. I don't know where we were at or who else was there. It's none of that. These girls have pinpointed what happened to them, how it happened, and a pattern has been established that says Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirators were conducting themselves in this manner, and they were grooming these girls, normalizing the behavior, and in turn, turning them into trafficked individuals. And to them, it didn't seem like it was anything out of the ordinary at the time because the behavior was normalized. Again, I am not a psychologist, right? I don't ever pretend to be anything like that, and I won't even try and explain all of the nuanced details when it comes to mental health because I'd be lying to you. I'm lucky I can, control my own mental health, never mind delve into anybody else's. But there's a reckoning coming for these people, I'll tell you that much. And I think that this is a really bad strategy for them to try and employ, especially considering the environment that we find ourselves in. I just don't understand how they think that this is a good idea. But the funniest part for me, it shouldn't even say the funniest part, the saddest part really, is it comes on the heels of the prosecutors stating in open court that these girls were not prostitutes. And then, right on the heels of that, we have this report from Churcher and Dershowitz camp and all of this other nonsense about how Virginia's a prostitute. I mean, come on. It is very transparent what's going on here. There is obviously a battle of narratives being waged. And for the first time, maybe ever in these people's lives, they're not fully in control of the narrative and it's completely bugging them out and they don't know how to act or how to counterbalance that. So they go to their tried and true tactics, go back to the toolbox, grab the tool that they're used to using, and go back to work. Little do they know that the job site has changed. And the tools that they brought to the job back in the day no longer fit the bill. And I think we're going to see a lot of that moving forward. These sort of allegations getting crushed and pushed back against super hard. And we're already seeing a lot of that as we speak. So, today's topic is right back into Jeffrey Epstein's financials, folks. We have a new report out from the Financial Times that the SEC opened a probe into Jeffrey Epstein's dealings after his death. Now, that's not something we were privy to. That's not something we had known about, not something that has been out there in the public sphere. But now, with Financial Times reporting it, they had filed a Freedom of Information Act, and in turn, they received documentation and documents from the SEC that detailed their investigation or beginnings of an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. So let's dig into this article and see what the Financial Times has come up with. Headline: The SEC probed Epstein's dealings after his death. The U.S. securities regulator sought documents on Epstein's brokerage and investment advisory activities. This article was authored by Kadeem Shuber. So, after Jeffrey Epstein was dead, that's a little bit odd right off of the bat. The SEC, all of a sudden, now they're interested in Jeffrey Epstein's dealings. All the decades previously, they weren't interested in Jeffrey Epstein or what he was up to. Nobody at the SEC had an inkling of an idea, huh? Not after all of those shell companies, not after all of those business ventures he was involved in that were named in like the Paradise Papers and the Panama Papers, not after his connections with Mossack Fonseca, none of it, huh? The SEC thought that it was a good idea not to investigate him while he was alive and then initiate an investigation after he died? That certainly does not make sense to me, folks. But again, we're dealing with the United States government and the overpopulated, bloated bureaucracy that rules the day. So when it comes to negligence and just ineptitude, they have it in spades. Shortly after Jeffrey Epstein died in prison last year, an attorney who had represented him received a request for documents from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So weird. Again, I don't mean to harp on that, but why would they wait for him to be dead to initiate that investigation? Shouldn't that be something that they should have kicked into gear while he was alive, perhaps concurrently? When he was getting arrested for that criminal case, the financial investigation should have taken off at the same time. Very odd. The previously unreported letter, obtained by the Financial Times through the Freedom of Information Act, shows that the securities regulator was investigating whether Epstein or one of his entities had provided brokerage or investment advisory services to anyone. This is important stuff here, folks, right? Why would the SEC not continue to go after this? This is what I've always been talking about with the RICO portion of this case, the financial portion of this case. The SEC was investigating whether Epstein or one of his entities had provided brokerage or investment advisory services to anyone. Well, we know for a fact that Leon Black said that Epstein provided him financial services in his own words. We've read those articles before, so we definitely know Leon Black. We know Les Wexner for sure. We know Libet Johnson for sure. And Lord only knows who else. So why would the SEC stop probing? Could it be because all of those people that I just named are super powerful? Could it be that Libet Johnson's relative, Woody Johnson, is ambassador to England? I mean, it could all just be coincidence, right? But usually, when we're dealing with so-called members of polite society, it's likely to be nepotism. So we have all of these people that Jeffrey Epstein was on record as a financial advisor for, and yet the SEC doesn't pursue an in-depth investigation, considering that Jeffrey Epstein was a target of not only a criminal investigation federally, but several different financial investigations. Again, it does not make sense how the government went about this case. It doesn't make sense how they go after financial crimes in general. And with the passage of the new defense bill, well, that has those new anti-money laundering guidelines buried into it. So moving forward, I really hope that we see a lot more movement from the scuzzballs in Congress and the Senate as far as reining in this money laundering and bringing these people to justice. And now also make sure you check out the link inside of the description box, because there is a hyperlink to the letter itself, and you could go give that a read as well. The investigation was closed without any action taken. Now, why would that occur? Why would they close this investigation with no action taken? Could it be because Epstein died? Perhaps. But where was this investigation leading up to this? Why was there no investigation digging into his financials previously? There's no double jeopardy law there. It wouldn't be like they're digging into the same crimes that were committed in Florida. It would be a whole new set of crimes, a set of financial crimes. So why weren't they vigorously digging into the financials? Why wasn't the SEC involved? Why wasn't the IRS involved? And why wasn't the FBI white-collar division involved? Who was making the decisions not to look into this guy? And why were those decisions being made? Epstein, who was awaiting trial on charges of sex trafficking underage girls when he died, remains a mysterious figure. Undoubtedly wealthy and well-connected, he appears to have advised major figures in the U.S. business world on their fortunes, though it is still unclear why they sought his advice. Exactly right. You're talking about people that are mega rich, way richer than Jeffrey Epstein, people with old money, actual wealth. Why would they be seeking out Jeffrey Epstein's dumb bitch ass for financial advice? You mean to tell me anyone in the Johnson family, the Johnson and Johnsons, needs to seek out Jeffrey Epstein for financial advice? Sure seems to me that the Johnson family has done pretty well on their own. Les Wexner needs Jeffrey Epstein's financial advice? Seems to me the guy did pretty good on his own. So you see, these people, they don't need Jeffrey Epstein's advice. In my opinion, there was something else going on here entirely. What it is, I can't put my finger on it. There's some sort of financial crimes going on here, some sort of money washing going on, and they're using those LLCs and the art world as a cover, as a way to evade taxes, and as a way to continue to keep this sort of war chest or financial streamline that they have going private, right? Because it's never enough for these people. They have to have more. I don't knock anyone for being wealthy, right? If you go out, you earn your wealth and you're rich as hell. Hey, man, that's the American dream. That's the dream of everyone in the world, right? Financial security for their family. But it gets to a point where, at what point is enough enough? At what point do you just become greedy and evil? I think we've reached that point with a lot of these people, and we're seeing it play out in real time right in front of our faces. As they continue to transfer wealth from the bottom up in the middle of a pandemic, their true selves are being revealed. The question is, folks, are you going to see them for what they really are? Or are you going to let them get away with it again, just like we did after the financial crisis? I know where I'm at personally, and there's no way I'm going to be quiet about what's occurring. There's no way I'm just going to sit here and take it ever again from these people. The request from the SEC sent on September 25th, 2019, more than a month after his death, suggests the markets regulator was in the dark like the rest of us. So Jeffrey Epstein was quite the ninja when it comes to his financial moves, huh? Seems like nobody wanted to touch him. Seems like nobody wanted to dive into his financials, and nobody wanted to rock the boat. What were they scared of? Were they scared of Jeffrey Epstein? Or were they scared of the people that were holding his reins, the people that were offering him cover? For me, it's obvious. Nobody was scared of Epstein, right? Not these people anyway. They're scared of the people that Epstein was rolling with. The power brokers, the real power brokers. Because remember, as evil as Epstein was, as much power as Epstein had, he was still an asset. He was still just a piece on the chessboard. And once he was burned, and that was the end of that. But this is deep, folks. There's a lot of layers to this. And the people who provided Jeffrey Epstein the cover and the financial ability and the financial latitude to make these moves, in my opinion, need to be exposed as well. Because they're just going to keep going on and bankrolling the same shit, and by the day they get eviler, it seems. More evil by the day. The letter to Epstein's former attorney, Michael Miller of Steptoe, sought documents that would identify whether the deceased financier, pedophile, had acted as a broker or investment advisor to anyone between 2013 and 2019. It did not specify any individuals. Well, I can tell you right now that Leon Black most certainly was a client at that point still. Leon Black was a client of Jeffrey Epstein's for quite some time. So when's Apollo going to get smashed with some real, tangible penalties? When's Apollo going to have to answer questions? When's Leon Black going to have to step down like Len Dubin and Les Wexner or the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family? What's Leon Black waiting for? This guy obviously was in bed with Jeffrey Epstein financially. The SEC did a bit of a look-see into it between 2013 and 2019. And my guess is what they found, well, scared the pants off of them, and their bureaucratic boss probably killed the investigation. Do I have evidence to prove that? No, I don't. That's just an educated guess considering the way these bureaucracies conduct themselves. The broad language in the request suggested the SEC did not know exactly what it was looking for, according to Daniel Hawk, a former top SEC enforcement official who is now a partner at Arnold and Porter. The fact they've issued this open-ended and very nonspecific general request suggests that they don't know what specific conduct they're looking for, but rather are searching for a jurisdictional hook in which to investigate any broker, dealer, or investment advisory services that Epstein or one of his entities may have provided. So it looked like a kind of a broad net, right? It was a broad net of an investigation looking at any person or entity that was involved with Epstein financially, especially through some of these shell companies. And boy, oh boy, if that doesn't ring the alarm bells and point all fingers at Leon Black, I do not know what does. The letter references a string of Epstein entities, including a financial trust company, which had links to Leon Black, the co-founder of Apollo Global Management. There is no indication the SEC was looking at Black's relationship with Epstein. No indication at all. Just a bunch of coincidences, right? And the fact that they killed the investigation. Did Black's people pressure them? Did his lobbyists from K Street get over there in quick, fast manner and let everybody know the deal? That Mr. Black was not going to put up with this. He would not stand for an investigation into him. Again, I don't have evidence proving that, but you don't think that's the way these people roll? You don't think somebody like Leon Black, who's a serious power broker, has that kind of power? He most certainly does. When you show up with a bag of money the way Leon Black does, you have a whole lot of power in Washington, D.C. The Apollo billionaire has previously said he paid Epstein millions of dollars annually for tax planning and other professional services and has denied any wrongdoing. Any suggestion of blackmail or any other connection to Epstein's reprehensible conduct is categorically untrue, Black said in October. Well, that might be the case. You were 100% locked into him financially, wrapped up with him financially, engaged in business with him. All sorts of trades, all sorts of charitable donations, Epstein in charge of your dough. I mean, come on. How are you really going to distance yourself from this guy? And how are you going to expect anyone to believe it? Especially those pensioners who are parking their money with you. If I was a pensioner and I heard that we were going to go with Apollo Global, I would cause a ruckus over it. I'm talking a Bramson-style ruckus. Zero chance I would want my money managed by any of these scumbags. I don't care about their return. I'll go to a different, more reputable company and get a 10% less return. Because this is just, it's absolutely gross that Leon Black had such deep ties with Epstein, and the SEC was looking in to Epstein's financials, and all of a sudden, they just stopped their investigation. No reason given. Definitely smells rotten to me. It's unclear why the SEC sent the voluntary document request after Epstein's death, or whether any documents were ultimately provided. In its reply to our FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request, the SEC said it had found only 14 pages of documents relating to the Epstein investigation. The 9-page letter, plus a 5-page staff recommendation to close the probe, which the SEC did not release. Oh, I'm sure that they recommended to close the probe. They were all shitting bricks, considering who was involved. And you mean to tell me that the SEC, this is the only probe that they had? 14 pages in all these years is all that they had on Jeffrey Epstein, huh? Or was there more information, but it went missing like the year of emails from Acosta? Or the Jeffrey Epstein cell footage? I mean, come on. This is the sort of shit that they would have us believe at this point. And folks, I have to tell you, nobody's buying it. I don't know anybody who's buying this at this point. They're going to need to do a better job, right? And the SEC, really? Only 14 pages of documents that relate to Epstein. Either A, you people are completely negligent, or B, these documents disappeared on purpose. I'll leave that up to all of you to decide. Mr. Miller of Steptoe did not respond to an email seeking comment, nor did attorneys for Epstein's estate. The SEC declined to comment. A spokesperson for Mr. Black declined to comment. The probe appears to have been one of only 2 SEC investigations regarding Epstein. We had asked the SEC in our FOIA request for any investigative records relating to Epstein. In addition to the probe last year, the SEC identified records from the early 80s when, after Epstein left Bears and Stearns, the SEC had interviewed him as part of the probe into possible insider trading. And there's a lot of talk that Epstein decided to work with the government at that point, and that was one of his first tastes of becoming an asset being run by one of the alphabet letter organizations. Now, there's been a lot of denials about that, but it's certainly something that needs to be mentioned, in my opinion, considering we know that there's a profile of Jeffrey Epstein being an asset. Vanity Fair previously recounted the episode in detail in 2003. For the sake of posterity, here are the records from that investigation. So, again, when you click on this link in the description box, make sure you're always checking out that description box. You'll have the hyperlink here where you can check out the Vanity Fair article for yourself, and you can also see the records as well, meaning the records from that investigation. So make sure you're checking out everything in the description box. Make sure you're clicking on the links, going to these articles, reading them for yourselves, and then following those hyperlinks, because it definitely will add more context to what we talk about. As far as Jeffrey Epstein, the SEC, and the financial portion of this case, at this point, all I could really say is, what in the hell is the holdup? If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. And I'm behind on my email once again, folks. I appreciate all of the emails, but it's coming in hot and heavy lately. So I'm going to try and catch up on that this weekend. I don't have much going on in my personal life this weekend, so I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to the show. I'm going to try and catch up on these emails. And remember, if I don't answer your email via the email, you can always find me on Twitter, or you can find me on the group Facebook page as well and send me a direct message there. I'll probably get that quicker. So either way, you have several different options. So if you want to get in touch with me and I have not answered your email yet, I'm going to try and do that by the end of this weekend. But if you want to send me another message, feel free to do so on Twitter or Facebook or re-email me, whatever it may be. So hopefully this weekend I can get back to all of you who have emailed me. We'll catch up on that and we'll keep it rolling, right? Some more new content will be out. The usual episodes, at the very least, one new episode per day. And we'll see what the news is, right? If there's a lot more news, then we'll have a lot more content. But coming up in the new year, I got some exciting things coming up for the podcast, a couple of changes, a couple of things that I think you folks are going to like. So as we get closer to the end of the year, I'll start talking about that stuff a little bit more. And also, I've decided that December 30th, mark your calendars, I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything session. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to use YouTube as the platform, but that's not written in stone yet. So we'll figure that out in the next week or so, and I'll get it all set up with the time and all of that jazz. And I figure with the holidays, most people will be home, and it'll give you folks a chance to pop off some questions for me about the case, about whatever you want, really, right? We'll just do a free-for-all, and we'll do some chatting. All right, folks, so there is a bit of an update about the show and what to expect moving forward. And as for me, well, like usual, I'll be back later on tonight, and we will pick up where we left off. Please enjoy your Friday, everybody.
Rogue Nicotine on Demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From fishing to Sunday football to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit RogueNicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit RogueNicotine.com. Rogue Nicotine on Demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From fishing to Sunday football to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit RogueNicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit RogueNicotine.com.